Okay, we are live. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, world?
What's up, guys?
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
everybody.
So, welcome back to another week from his lips to her ears. Our series, "How to Love a Man." We've probably heard so many different types of series before about how to love a woman. There's tons of books out about that. I mean, come on, Lamar. They've designated chapters in Bibles to talk about loving a woman, right? But there's
Man,
very few textbooks, manuscripts, articles, books about how to love a man. And so we're going to provide that for you in this series. We had two phenomenal weeks. The first week was kind of get to know him, is step one in loving a man. The next week, what did we do last week? First week was get to know him. Last week was
give him space.
Give me space.
yeah, which was a little controversial, right? I think that a lot of our significant others and partners and wives and girlfriends probably thought that get to know him. I mean, I'm sorry, give him space meant
Nice.
give him the leash and the latitude to do whatever the hell he want to do. But that's exactly not how we wanted to paint the picture. And I think that we did a really good job. We probably could have did another episode just on that, but I think we did a really good job of really kind of highlighting what it means to kind of give a man space. But also, I think Reggie, you made this great point. It's not based upon gender. There are moments and many moments when women also need their space as well. We just need space differently, and we need to communicate the type of space that we need. And so it all boils down to communication. Tonight, though, is help him. Getting to a man's heart, loving him deeply, in a way where you help him. And I left that wide open because each of us tonight is going to take our own little route and our own little detour as to what helping us means, because for each of us it's different. And we don't want to create a blanket statement that if you follow these 2 or 3 tips, you'll be able to help every man in the world, because that's false, right? Each of us requires something different. Our help is something different. The person assigned to us has got to have the capacity and the wherewithal and the gift to be able to help us wherever we are, right? So we want to talk a little bit about that tonight. I've got Fred, Reggie, Pastor Lamar, Corey's on his way, and my dude, the therapist, Eric will be joining us probably in 20 minutes. And we're not going to go super long tonight. Everybody, we'll probably go till about 8:30, 8:45. But we really want to hit it hard and hit it fast and really kind of dive right into what does it mean to help us. So let me kind of start. And Fred, I want at the very end, Fred, I want you to talk a little bit about what we discussed last night. Your fraternity brother and some of the things that we can think about in our community related to COVID. So we'll save some space at the end for that. But in helping him, one of the things that I've learned in life in when it comes to a woman, that men have a hard time, and fellas, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got a hard time letting somebody know that we need help. Case in point, we be in a car, right? We driving, we're headed somewhere. And we could be on our phone, we're trying to answer an email, answer a call, and we could miss an exit. And our lady will say, "Hey, you missed the exit." And we play it off like, nah, I know where I'm going, right? And rather than us admit that we missed the exit or admit that we need help, we're willing to say, "No, I got this. This is what I intended for it to be," right?
Miles.
for for miles, right? And so I think that what we really want to share tonight is a way for us as men to help other men and the women that love them, how to help you help us. Because when we hold on to the ability for you to step into our lives and help us, we're holding on to the ability for you to take whatever we think or dream or desire to the next level. I don't know about y'all, but when I read this book several years ago, this entrepreneur did a study on like the 100 wealthiest men in the world, right? And in this book, this research, he finds that there is one single component that has driven each of those 100 wealthy men to great levels of success. What do y'all think that is?
Sex.
A supportive woman.
It was a supportive woman, right? For the 100 wealthiest men,
good sex.
this author looked at And when he dive deep into their life as to how you've reached this level of success, right? You could talk about mergers, you can talk about board meetings, you could talk about having the right people in place, you could talk about the timing, you could talk about all those things. But the end result for all of these successful men was, man, I had a strong woman who just had my back and helped me reach this level of success. So let's talk about that a little bit, man, because I know for each of us, the help is different. What I need help in is not what you all need help in, but I believe that we can paint a picture tonight of the ways in which men do need help, the ways in which we can encourage men to step outside of their prideful ways and allow a woman to step into their lives and help them with the things that we're working on. I mean, if you like Corey, who's akin to a Jamaican, you got 8 jobs. There's no way that Corey's 8 jobs, him working alone in a silo, will help him to reach great levels of success in his business. And so on December the 12th, when he gets married, he has already found somebody that can help take him to the next level. Corey, am I right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think one of the things that, and I apologize for being late, so I'm not exactly sure how you started, but I know one of the things that made me, I don't want to say select her, but made me realize that she was the one, was that she helped me find peace in chaos. I think that's one of the ways that a woman can be helpful to a man, is by helping him find peace in the chaos. I used to play this game back in the day, and I think Lamar is probably the oldest guy on here. And it was a game called Where's Waldo? And in the midst of the chaos, what you were to do was to be able to find Waldo in a chaotic canvas. And so a good woman will help a man find peace, help a man find joy, and all that stuff, sometimes in a chaotic situation. And so help me find peace. Help me know that it's going to be okay. Help me realize that maybe I'm stressing over something that I don't need to stress over. And so, yeah, absolutely. One of the things is that she is really not saying that, sometimes she don't help me find drama too, but for the most part, she helped me find peace. Come on, Fred, help me up out of there, man. I feel like I'm about to get stuck.
Let me create a diversion. I'm going to set fire to the garbage can over here real quick and create a distraction. But I appreciate the opening by Dr. Ali, because my first contribution, I was thinking along making along these lines. I was walking around the house yesterday after my wife had done some Christmas decorating, and I thought, what a great home she had made. You know what I mean? Just looking around, all of her touches, this house has been made a home because of her efforts and her love. And it occurred to me that this could have been a cave. It really could have been, a pub tent or a hammock in the woods. If she was there, I felt confident that I would be comfortable and feel like I was at home. Now, that being said, I understand why you picked your fiance, because I picked my wife for similar reasons, because she completed me. And what that means is she doesn't always, it's not always like the better 7/8 of me. It's not that she makes me whole in that sense, that I'm lacking so much that she fills up every nook and cranny of what's missing. It's that she does what I expect and what I need, and that she provides that fundamental foundational thing of respect and support. Because what we need, the way you can help us, women, ladies, is to not only provide that unconditional love that everybody needs, that accepts you in spite of all of your flaws, but we need somebody who will support us, someone who is loyal, somebody who's going to help me with their loyalty, help me with their unconditional support as well. Somebody I can count on to be affirming all the time, because when you're out in the world as a Black man, particularly in America, facing macro threats, and micro threats and all kinds of things that we have to go through daily to maintain our cool, keep our blood pressure from rising, keep from having strokes out of suppressed anger, frustration, and the myriad things that we all go through. There is a sense of peace when you return to your castle. And to a large degree in my life, my castle is made mine because I have a queen that says I'm the king. So we need that reaffirming type of support, especially when you get to raising kids and kids get smart enough to try to divide and conquer. There's always a bottom line in the house, even. There's somebody who has that veto power that I talked about earlier. And Corey, that's V-E-T-O, not V-I-T-O, like Corleone. Veto power. And also, we need them to give us the support during all of our wars, battles, and confusion with the family and maintaining order and that type of thing. So we need you always to be at our back and always be supportive.
That's good. You gonna jump in there, Red?
Well, even before I share, I had a question for Brother Fred. Do you feel like that level of veto, that level of respect, that level of support from your wife increased once you had children, or was the foundation always there even before you had the children, just between the two of you?
It was there, Reggie, but it becomes more complicated. It becomes more complicated, and you always have to be wary of the enemy. You always have to be wary of your kids using you against one another and trying to divide and conquer. I'll give you an example. I'll tell you, especially if you're raising young men, if you're raising boys who are growing into pre-adolescents, adolescents, teenagers, young men who are aggressive, who are manipulative, successful, smart, all charming. They try to use every little psychological tool they have to get their way, to mislead and do whatever. In spite of being great kids, you can have great kids, but they're still going to be kids. It took a while, and I had to have some discussions with my wife about whose side she was on. You don't always have to agree with your husband. We can, or your spouse, mate, or whoever. We can be wrong. Support me in the midst of my wrongness. Support me in the midst of my mistake. I didn't say agree with me. Support me. I didn't say you have to always agree with me, but don't disagree with me in front of the enemy. Don't disagree with me like The Godfather. You never let the other side, let anybody else know what you're thinking. If you watch The Godfather, he was talking to Sonny, you never let somebody else know what you're thinking. Your spouse needs to have your back, front, side, up and down, top and bottom. So if there's a disagreement, that's something you discuss later, right? So there was a learning curve when it came to dealing with our children, but also that curve changed, it rippled and flexed because your kids grow, and we grew as parents as well.
That's powerful, man. I feel like I'm listening in on this show, learning a whole lot, because we don't have children yet, but that's part of the plan. So it's funny hearing you referring to your children as the enemy.
But my kids were great kids, and I say that facetiously because if they were really the enemy, it wouldn't be a joke to me. You know what I mean? I can say that I tease them and tell them I hate them all the time. I tell my patients at work, they start talking about kids. I say, talk to me before you have kids because they suck. They highly overrated. I tease them all the time. Don't tell my kids I'm saying this out loud, but I tell people my kids are old enough for me to tell them I hate them now because I can't do any more harm to them.
Amazing.
They are an adventure.
That's good stuff.
I absolutely love it. Fred said something that really got me together, and tonight we're dealing with all of the things and areas that women and spouses can help help their men in relationships. Fred said something, help me when I'm wrong. Because I'm not always going to be right.
That's right.
Can you help me? Can you support me in the areas when I'm wrong? I think that's one of the things, one of the biggest things that as Dr. Ali said in the beginning, he said, over all of the folk that's making all of this money, all of the men inside of the book, the one thing that they did have was someone that was right there pushing them and supporting them through every aspect of life. And once you find that person, and it's not about competition between y'all, but it's more so, let me help this agenda, and then you're going to help that agenda, and whoever agenda comes up first, that's who we're going to help to kind of make a successful relationship. But the biggest piece is can you help when I'm wrong?
Mhm.
Do you have the mental capacity to be able to help when I'm wrong? Can you look past your anger and still be supportive?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's powerful. Yeah, because you're right, Pastor Lamar. Like anger, it almost divides us, right? Anger almost has us choosing sides, and anger will also have us get on the phone and be like, "Yo, let me call my girlfriend, or let me call my homeboy, and get somebody to co-sign as to what I'm feeling emotionally." And sometimes all that co-signing can really divide the relationship. You know what I mean? So that's a powerful point, Pastor Lamar. And I'm thinking about like you mentioned the word support. And over the years, Pastor Lamar, I used to think that support meant that I needed you to stand beside me when the wind started to blow, right? When it started to rain, when the so-called friends decided to walk out my life. But over time, I started realizing that for me, supporting me means helping me in what I'm working on. So it's not enough to say, how was your day at the office? Let's talk about the dynamics of what took place in the office, because I might have made some decisions in the office that might not mean me no good 6 months to a year from now.
Right.
Or with your tax service, your company, if your future wife is not part of the things you're working on, then you're at times entering into that space blindly, because who got your back better than your future wife? You know what I mean? So we have to involve our significant others, Reggie, to the dreams that we're working on, and not leave them on the sideline as these proverbial cheerleaders saying go, 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 because the cheerleader ain't gonna cut it at this stage in my life. Maybe in my 20s, the cheerleader would have been cool. I was still playing ball, Lamar. You know, we was in summer leagues, you know, running up and down the floor, you know, knocking them young boys out. But that ain't gonna cut it now.
Right.
So the support is no longer cheering from the sidelines. Now the support is, can you get into these trenches with me?
Right.
Yeah, I think sometimes though, just to kind of give not pushback, but just a different perspective on that, oddly, is that, you know, yeah, help me in my business, but sometimes I'm a little hesitant because I've dealt with people that didn't want to help, but they had a takeover spirit. Right. And so you got to make sure that as you kind of transition, for example, my fiance has a conference called KidsCon. And listen, she established just before me. She's done extremely well before me. But the reality is, when it comes to marketing, man, I know how to market. Like, that's what I do. You know, my first $1 million company was a marketing firm. But I've learned strategically not to go over and try to take over her business, but gradually, she gradually allows me access, and then I start helping her and kind of putting my 2 cents in. And the same thing with my tax business. She has helped with the tax business and the trucking business. And the reason I allowed her help is because she doesn't have a takeover spirit, but she has a I'm here to help spirit, right? And so we just got to make sure that women know the difference, because sometimes that pushback is because we've had experiences in our past where somebody didn't want to help, but they wanted to take over. You know, and ask me how I know.
Man, that right there is huge. That's Lord have mercy. That's huge right there. Can you help without trying to take over?
Come on.
Can you help without trying to put your stamp on what is already someone else's?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Fred, I see you, man. I'll tell you a quick story real quick, man. And I'm actually going to start back doing them in January, but I used to do like 2-minute videos, and I won't say who it was, but I'll just say there was somebody from my past that was very spiritual, Dr. Staples. I mean, they was like Jesus' sister. And
right.
When I did my videos, Fred, I would kind of have conversations like we're having now, but I may have some hip hop music behind it. And this particular person told me, why are you speaking so much truth with that devil spirit behind it? And it was like, you know, in my mind, I was thinking, shut up. I've been doing this for a while, and your videos suck, and you got 5 followers. So you probably, anyway, I'm sorry. That's because that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Dr. Jason, take over, because I'm feeling it tonight.
I don't see why not. We might as well have a good. We might as well go ahead and go all in tonight, Corey. I kind of feel like, you know, I know you got another show you got to do here in a minute, but I think we should go ahead and go all the way in and see what the people say about this conversation. A couple of areas that I just kind of, because I want to play both sides of it, because ain't nothing like having somebody that's right there that's supporting you and helping you and pushing you to be a better you, so you can be a better you. Ain't nothing like it in the world. It's the best thing in the world. But then there are some, and mind you, I do counseling. I got my little master's degree in counseling and all that little cute stuff, and I do it almost daily. One of the things that I often see is that those who are really trying to help, who are supposed to come along and be a help meet, end up trying to be in competition with the one that they're supposed to be helping. So now, since they're in competition with the one that they're supposed to be helping, it ends up becoming agenda driven. So the only reason I'm really here is not for me, but it's for, it's not for you, but it's really for me. I'm not here for you. I'm gonna give the appearance that I'm here for you, but ultimately I'm here for myself, because I really have another agenda on the other side. I'm here to help. I say I'm helping you, but I'm really not helping you. I'm helping me.
You better talk, Staples. See, now listen, I ain't gonna tell you what's in this green cup, but you keep talking like that and the real deal gonna come out, okay? All right? Because you making me, because here's the deal. Now, that's real, man. What you said is so key, because sometimes people, there is this illusion of them trying to help you, but they're not really trying to help you. They're really trying to change you to be what it is that they desire for you to be. And so no, I don't need you to mask trying to shift or change a dynamic about my life and label it as help. Because I think if we're honest, we've all experienced that in one way, one form or fashion, where somebody claims to want to help us, but really what they're doing is trying to change us. Now, again, I want to make sure that we stick with the topic of the show. We're talking about what we need help at, but help me, don't hurt me, right? Help me, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me by trying to change me into something that God has never told me I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Well, I guess I'm gonna keep talking then.
No, I'm ready.
I agree.
I think it's just so fast. We all trying to process, because if you think about it, Pastor Staples, like, this is not a conversation that we have often. We don't. When do we get a chance to get together really as men and talk about areas in which we need help? Because that's a very prideful area for us. We like to say that we got it. We like to say that we don't need any help, even amongst each other. Like, when any of us have ever moved, I guarantee many of you have probably just called the movers, just hired somebody to come move y'all. Very few of us have been like, yo, homie, come through. I'm moving. I have some drink here. I order some pizza, because we have this spirit of, I got it. I don't need any help. So I think even tonight's conversation makes us kind of have to reflect for a minute and think about areas in which we need help, number one, but number two, why we have a hard time asking for it.
I don't have a hard time asking, Jason. I think that the thing for me is, help me when I ask for help, but don't help me if I didn't ask you for help. So for example, I tell my wife, like you brought up the example of driving if you're lost, right? My wife, a lot of times, she'll be like my second GPS in the car. So I'm literally looking at the GPS.
Yes, I know that.
She'll be like, hey, there's a right turn coming. And the first time I let it slide. Then the second time she's like, hey, you're going to make a left up here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm listening to the GPS. By the third time, I'm already cutting smart remarks. But then I tell her, babe, when you're talking to me and then the GPS talking to me, that's two voices. That's too much going on. And you're making me second guess myself, and I don't like second guessing myself. Please, can you just let the GPS direct? What? You get mad at me. She's hearing what I'm saying, like, but I'm telling her, like, this is just too much stimulation, so I need to hear the GPS.
Oh, this about to Jay. This gonna get good tonight.
But if I were to ask you, hey, babe, what do you think? I like? That's different. But I didn't ask you. It's too much. Corey, go ahead, though.
Say no, Reg. I'm tripping on you, man, because I agree with you.
Hey, I agree 1 trillion.
Help me when I ask you for help.
Yeah.
But if I ask you, sometimes sometimes you're doing too much and it's not needed. But at the same time, I will say there are scenarios, and I'm glad that you said it too, Jason, as far as help me with my dream, with my vision, where my wife is observing me do my business. And one time she heard me talking to a client, and she was like, I got off the phone and she was like, do you ever talk to them outside of their goals. And I was like, nah, what do you mean? Why would I talk? She was like, do you ever just talk to them about life?
Mm.
And I was like, huh? Like, it was literally epiphany. Like, huh, I never thought to talk to these people about just life, family, work, and literally since then, I've applied that nugget that she gave me.
Mm.
So it was helpful for her to, see me in my element and add value to it. And she does that a lot of times because she has a totally different perspective than I have because she's totally unbiased. She's not tied into my vision as far as doing it, but she wants to see me succeed. So she gives me, what she sees from afar. So that helps a lot too.
So Reggie, what I kind of hear you saying, and I think kind of Fred alluded to it earlier, there's a difference between offering help as a suggestion versus offering help because they think there's a better way.
Yeah.
We have to be fair, though.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's part of, it's such a simple conversation. We're driving, right? And I know that I need to get off, in a mile to get off the exit. So she'll say, well, I was telling you to get over because I would have gotten over the lane way sooner.
Right.
And I tell her, yeah, but that's not how I'm going to do it. That's not how I do it. I know when I need to get off, I'm not going to move over so soon. So she, like you said, she's trying to impose how she would do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I let her know that's not how I'm doing it. But we're still going to get to the same result.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's funny you said that.
That's good stuff.
A conversation of driving, but how many scenarios in life could we apply this to?
Yes.
Right? Within the household, once you, like Fred started talking, I can't imagine when she started having children.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I can.
Me too. I know.
Hey,
Get ready, Mason.
Hey, Reg, I think tonight my job tonight is to be the pushback king. And so let me push back on that, Reggie. Just say this. I don't want us. What I don't want to do is put the message out there, especially as men, for us to be short-sighted from a perspective of saying, if I don't ask for help, don't help me, because a help me oftentimes sees what you don't see.
Yeah.
And so there are some times in life where you do need the help, even if you don't ask it, because maybe you don't even know you need the help.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes in life we have made our dysfunctions functional, and then somebody else comes in our life with a different lens and a different perspective, and they will show you some things that you maybe have swept up under the rug. I heard Bishop Jake say this one time. He said that a blind person will have furniture moved around in their house so that it makes it functional for them.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes along that can see, when we look at the way their house is arranged, it doesn't make sense to us
Mm-hmm.
because we can see what they can't see. And so sometimes God, help me. My second point was going to be, help me see what I don't see.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm my father, and I don't even know I'm my father.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm my father's sins, and I don't even know it. My attitude is bad, and I don't even know it. Or I allow people to use me, and I've made that abnormal behavior normal.
Yeah.
And so, yes, sometimes I have to have a wife or a woman to come along to help me see what I don't see. And I may never ask for help because in my mind, I don't need help. But we actually do in some cases.
There you go.
Bro.
Hey, welcome, E. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, brothers.
What I was about to say was that we have to be fair. And the first thing I was going to ask you guys, first of all, how do you differentiate between needed offered help versus unneeded offered help? And I was going to go on to suggest that the first thing we have to do, in fairness, is to try to submit or overcome our own personal pride. Because the first thing you do is you get intellectually defensive. I had noticed something about myself, just to interrupt myself with this brief story. Thomas Doctor, it'll be brief.
Wow.
Moment.
I don't think I've ever interrupted myself with a brief story, but go ahead, Fred. That was interesting.
I noticed that I was having trouble accepting a hand, like at work. You know, dealing with somebody on a stretcher, 200-pound man on a bed, and I'm determined to maneuver this thing because I can, where I want, and just refusing help that wasn't necessarily needed, but was just somebody trying to be nice. That's pride. Oh, I got this. Why? When somebody's just reaching out a helping hand to be helpful because they could, that's pride. Let them. It's not that big of a deal. It's accepting somebody's favor, right? I'm certainly not above or beyond that because I already did accept somebody's favor in a very big way, right? So who am I to turn an ungrateful eye to someone who's trying to offer me just nicety, right? So just like you guys, I think, just articulated, where I was going as well was we have to be willing to honestly assess the situation and ourselves, our needs versus our wants and pride and desire, whatever, and decide if well-intentioned help is going to benefit us or not. And if it doesn't, if we see that it doesn't, we need to say in a respectful way that discourage future help that we got this. Can you help me in another way? Maybe it's still incumbent upon us to be a good partner, a loving partner, even when we're getting misguided help, right? But this show, ladies, is to help y'all understand what we really need.
That's well said. Well said. I'm loving everything everybody's saying tonight. This is getting real. This is getting real good tonight. If I had one thing that I can kind of throw out there and kind of be the bad guy for a minute, because I know normally Corey the bad guy, but I'm gonna be the bad guy just for a second.
Hey, listen, it don't take me but a second to flip the switch. So Lamar, go ahead.
Good. just for a moment. Yeah, I'm gonna just throw something out there just for 1 second. How are you actually helping? Because some of them think that helping is taking over. Some of them think that helping is being the one that's controlling, helping being the one that's taking the lead. Something. I just threw that out there for somebody. I know Fred's shaking his head. This is gonna be okay.
100% true.
But how are you actually helping? And I'm gonna throw out a couple of things that don't help. Just for somebody that might be listening, and I saw the young lady that threw the question up about singles and Let me throw up a couple of things that really don't help. If you're in a relationship, you're trying to get into a relationship, you're dating, you're married, been married for 30 years, 40 years. Listen, some stuff that don't help. Nagging ain't helping.
It's time I say.
I'm gonna throw that out there real quick. Nagging ain't help nobody. Okay, all right. Number two.
What's nagging, bro? Could you define nagging?
Come on, Eric. We ain't gonna do that right now.
Eric,
you ain't gonna mess it up all night. Just everybody know what nagging is. Ain't nobody mess with you.
Say, Jason, Eric came over being messy already. Chill out, man.
Out the gate. Just out the gate. Nagging don't help nobody. Nagging ain't never helped nobody. Number two, attitudes ain't helping. Just because you got an attitude don't mean I'm gonna do what you want me to do or even accept the help that you want that you're trying to give me.
That's true.
And then if I end up with the last one here, because I don't know if anybody has ever experienced this, slick remarks and comments ain't helping.
And criticism.
It's not helping.
Yeah.
My question is, how are you really helping? Are you really helping, or are you just,
Passively
misguided?
We got phones and computers and everything going on tonight. And Corey just sitting back like, man, I don't know.
Say, man, I'm just, hey, I'm waiting. Listen, I'm waiting to hear what E got to say, man. I'm just waiting to hear what E got to say.
Hey, I was just telling Jason about this when I called him and asked if it was on tonight. And I think that one of the hardest things about thinking about how a woman can help her man, I believe one of the hardest things is just being able to understand, like, if you've never seen a cooperative relationship or had limited experience with that's the sunken place almost, right? Like, it's so ambiguous that you don't know, you floating through it, and you don't even know that when you remove all the bullshit from it, it's really just being, how can I be helpful? Period. But like, I think it was you, Doc Staples. You said something about the pride Was it
Pride.
you? Was it Fred? Was it you that said that? Pride. Pride.
got
Get
pride.
understand it. Look, I'm reading a book called The 4-Hour Body, right? Corey, check it out. Really, it's fire. You're gonna love it. Man, he said, take a picture of yourself in your drawers. And just look from the front, side, and back. And ask yourself, does your butt and back look like one thing? And has your woman kind of hinted to you about doing something, but your ego got in the way of the reality of what you already know? You know your clothes fit crazy.
Oh,
You know it. You know it ain't your clothes got smaller. It's you got bigger. And one of the hardest things is for us to be to take that and hear it in a way that's from a position of love and nurture. So a lot of times it's about us being vulnerable, them being vulnerable, and them knowing that our ego is fragile. You know what I mean? I can't lie. My whole goal is to try to help my woman be the best, like to be happy. And sometimes I used to want to fix that shit. Like I wanted to fix her. Like, oh, you got a problem? Let me show you how to fix that. And really it became about me just sitting back listening. But sometimes I think that one of the ways they forget to do for us is the exact same thing.
You better preach. You better talk, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm sitting back telling my wife about something I'm dealing with, and she starts saying, well, you know, you ever thought about this? I didn't ask that shit. I did not ask that shit. I'm trying to break this down to you because you're my partner. You know what I'm saying? You're my safe place. But a lot of times we don't know nothing about that because we haven't experienced it. And that's the journey, I think. You know what I mean? That journey to vulnerability, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
man.
I like what Ashley just said, man. It's about packaging the message through love. And you're right, you're right, E, because we are so fragile, brother. You know what I'm saying? We have this very like barbaric kind of like demeanor, and we have to be that way just because of the work that we do, right? Especially if we're leaders. All of us on this call, we lead people, we influence people. People look up to us. People are not looking for us to have any cracks in our armor most times. And for us to acknowledge that we have a crack in the armor is like, no, not you. You playing with me. Like, really? You ain't got no crack in no armor. But I think that the safe place you mentioned, E, is the ability for us to be able to talk about those very soft and vulnerable things. But as Ashley just mentioned, the response back has got to be packaged through love. Because you could say something way crazy off the wall, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good on that. I don't even want to talk about it no more.
Say, man, I'm talking about, and you didn't got exited out of the whole conversation because of the way that you delivered. I was talking to my fiance the other day, and I said, listen, I said, man, I think that I like steaks. And I said, baby, let's imagine that we go to your favorite steak restaurant. And in one place, they deliver the steak like a 5-star restaurant. Everything is beautiful. But you take that same steak that's amazing, and they deliver it to you on a trash pail. Which one do you want? You're probably not going to receive that same steak because of the delivery, the way they presented it to you. And so I think what all of us as humans have to understand is that delivery is so important. And as the young lady just said, criticism can also be packaged in love.
Yes.
You know, when you criticize somebody, you know, I call it the sandwich approach. And I think with you guys being counselors, with the sandwich approach, you start off with something good, then you give them the criticism, and then you end with something good. That's a strategy. You know, a strategy to say, hey, baby, you know what? I love when you make banana pudding, but this steak almost gave me high blood pressure, but your chicken is good. Follow me?
Yeah.
Is that ain't gonna work, Fred?
Yeah.
You might have to double the ends because you just can't hit them with the steak was like shoe leather because you may get stabbed before you get to the back half of the, you know, you gotta.
But you know what? I just keep working on it.
Okay, I'm working on it.
When you say that though, and I'm looking at Ashley's thing on here, and it has to be packaged through love. The message has to be delivered through love. But here's the challenge: what if the love that I've experienced in my life has been cortisol rich? What if the love that I have is stress related? Right? So what if my nurture from a neurological position has been stress? So for me to love you, Corey, is me talk crazy to you so I feel like it felt when I was in my mama's tummy because she's going through the same bullshit I went through. So the hardest part is to move through that neurological piece too. Because we say love, but here's a question I got to ask you, like not you, Corey, but if I was, you know, what is love to you? Like to ask my woman, what would love look like to you? And for her to understand what it is to me, but for us to do the deep dive and understanding,
Corey, Eric is swinging. Yo,
Hey, bro, listen, he don't. Hey, listen, that's why I love when Eric. I love being on here, man. But listen, Eric, Jesus, I'm trying not to just go crazy right here because it goes back to Reggie. What I said before Eric got on. That's why you can't ever say, if I don't ask for help, don't give me help, because sometimes they can see that you need help and you've normalized the dysfunction. Because, like he said, my mother talk like this, my father talked like this. I came from this environment, and now he or she comes from a completely different environment, and they love you, but they can see there's something wrong here that I need to help you unpack. And the worst thing that you can do is push away somebody who's trying to help you be a better version of you, because you've settled in on being comfortable with your dysfunction.
Yes, my dad said, "Watch out, you get comfortable laying on a bed of nails, and it feel like a Sealy Posturepedic."
Right.
You're so used to it. I'm sorry, brother. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Oh no, you good, man. You good. So my thing, my question would be to Corey, because I absolutely agree with you. But how do you get that person to recognize that in their normality is actually a dysfunction?
Do you know
Easy.
how complicated this is?
No, I don't.
It's all right. This is some deep doo-doo, man. This is serious. Y'all are hitting all of the high points, and you know what? We're not going to solve anything tonight. It's all very deep stuff, because it's psychological, and it has to do with personal pride. And I've said this before. When your lenses of whatever magnifying glass, I don't care how sharp the focus is, when it's colored, when it's tinted with the lens of pride, it will skew everything toward your own personal perception. So you got two people involved in a relationship, and that's how you have to view everything that's going on. You have to view it from a perspective of you as a couple. You have to view it from a perspective of your own personal, prideful, dysfunctional, warped perspective, and then from the person that you're talking to, from her perspective. Those optics are flawed 3 times, all flawed. And
Dr. Before Corey jumps into that question, because I think Fred is alluding to some really big pieces here. You're right, Fred. This is a whole lot. We ain't gonna be able to dissect it all tonight. But one of the things, Dr. Staples, that I thought about when you asked Corey that question was, we as men don't always know what it looks like. We know what it doesn't look like.
Right.
So I think before we as men talk about, this is what you should give me, A, B, and C, because that has skipped my vernacular for many years. But what I can articulate is what it doesn't look like. It shouldn't look like this. It shouldn't look like this. It shouldn't feel like this. And I shouldn't, after we leave the conversation, I shouldn't feel this burden of more pressure with you than I felt pressure at the job. Right? How do you leave work and feel pressured, and you feel destitute, and you feel isolated, and you feel pushed away, right? And then you got to come home and you got to feel that exact same thing, but maybe multiplied, right? At the end of the day, where the hell are you supposed to go to for your safe haven? You know, so when we talk about help, like help me miss the stress and the pressure that life beats on me day in and day out.
Well, that's what I wanted to add, fellas, is one of the ways that women can help us so much, I know that helps me, is just through the power of words. Just through the power of words, because a lot of times I'll catch my wife on the phone talking to, say, her family. And she's talking about how great, you know, she's like, man, I appreciate him for doing this. I'll catch her literally talking great about him. And that's awesome. It's a great feeling. But when she directly comes to me and tells me, yo, I really appreciate you for doing this. Man, I really respect you for operating this way. It builds me up in a way that it doesn't matter if I get 1 million likes and comments online. If I just get that one sentence from her,
yes,
that makes my whole year. I can conquer the world. And like how you guys talked about the criticism, you know, if you're giving your husband criticism, or even if it's something that's literally he needs to change, if all he hears from you is always criticism, he will sit down.
Right.
Word out.
Hey, man.
To expound on what Corey said, the sandwich approach, there's really a bigger version of it is for every criticism, you have 10 compliments. Or maybe 5, right? I think it's 5 to 10 compliments at least, right? So if you're telling him, you know, hey, you haven't been taking out the trash, those times when he does take out the trash, thank him. It's something so simple. But thank him. If he's doing a great job, catch him doing a great job and articulate. Don't just keep it to yourself, but tell him, yo, you're doing a great job. We're no different than that little boy 10, 20, 30 years ago. We're still that same little boy inside that wants approval, that wants acknowledgement, that wants to be seen, that wants to have someone that's proud of them.
Reggie, I'm bubbling over here, bro. I'm trying to sit still. I feel like I got the itchy booty, but really,
Don't worry about it. I got it too.
I just thought it was funny. I had to say that.
So
he said something that I say to my kid all the time, and I was just talking to one of my friends on here, Clarissa. Man, I think a lot of times because we don't understand, like my son, like I'm using my son for example, right? He got to clean his room. He got to pick his stuff up out of the living room, and I he can take out the trash. But if he pick up everything else, that's where his allowance money comes from, right? So him doing the snow today, I'm gonna make sure I give you some money for your allowance. Picking up your room and stuff, that's what you do, right? This your house. We ain't living trifling. I think a lot of times men, we want to pat the back for being responsible for our crib. We want to be responsible. Look, if I get to the crib first and the dishes is out there, I might want to put them up. Now, it's my daughter's chore to wash them, but I'm going to put them all in the sink and clean the living room up. I'm going to take the trash out. I might put a load in real quick because I got here first. Even if, look, we working in COVID. If my wife is in the office working and I come in the house, it may be my responsibility to fold this stuff up in the living room, put the pillows right, wipe off the counter or something like that, because it's going to lessen the load. Yeah. I think a lot of times it is about, we get caught up in getting sympathy from the little boy position instead of getting empathy, saying he had a hard day. I love that man. It ain't a pity pat. I don't want you rubbing my back. I want you to be damn, this is your sanctuary. But a lot of times, because we don't know what responsibility is, we get treated like a little boy and we get used to little boy shit. I want to get a pat on the back for doing responsible shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why my friends end up dating dudes who could play Madden better than they could pay a bill.
Well,
Great.
Hey man, my question, Eric, is what's in the glass, bro? What's in the glass?
It's a bourbon honey. It's some bourbon honey. I forget what it was, but it's tasty.
Listen, I knew it wasn't Coca iced tea because you was lit tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, but I want to answer that question that State was put out there, man. I mean, again, I'm probably the least educated on this group as far as in counseling and stuff like that, but I don't think it's a challenging feat. I think it's something that can be accomplished if you're with somebody that you trust, right? And so the Bible. Can I do it one time, Staples? Just one time.
Go ahead. You got it.
Right. The Bible says.
There it is.
How can two walk together unless they agree? And so if I'm in agreement with you, there has to be trust. Even if it's not trust, there has to be a contractual agreement, which means we're going to do this together. And so if I trust you, that means that I tell my fiance all the time, baby, you're my side mirrors, because every now and then in life we have blind spots. And when you got somebody you trust that's looking out for both of your interests, they're going to tell you what's coming even when you don't see it. And so I think it starts with trust. The second thing, Fred said it, you got to put your pride down to realize that just because your mama and your daddy did it that way doesn't mean it's the right way. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but it doesn't mean it's right, or it doesn't mean it's the only way. And so I think when it comes to having somebody to help you in an area that you don't even know you need help, it takes trust. It takes for you to eliminate your pride, and then it takes prayer. Because my pastor taught me a long time ago, man, if somebody say something about you, the first thing you do is find out, is there any truth to it? Check the pattern, check the history, check it from their perspective, because they may be right. And you changing that and submitting one to another is what's going to take you to the next level. Help me. And I know I got to get ready to go, but I want to run off a couple of things. Help me be the best version of me. Help me be the best version of me. I get it, baby. I think I'm all that in the bag of chips, but you can make me better than that. Better. Because you get to see stuff that nobody else sees. Right. Because of our intimacy and us being together. So help me be the better version of me. Help me get it right when I'm getting it wrong. Help me. I didn't say criticize me. I didn't say tear me down. I didn't say talk down to me. I didn't say, watch this. I know my fiance is watching, so I'm going to say this. I didn't say this, Staples. I didn't say highlight the negative and ignore the positive. Wow. Because a lot of times I think women, I don't know, because I've never dated a man before, but women have the tendency to highlight the negative things and forget all about the good things that you've done. 1 in 5 is what Reggie said. 1 in 5 is what Eric said. Help me be better, but don't always focus on what I'm not doing to make you happy and forget about everything else that I've done. Help me be a better version. Help me see God when I can't see him. Yeah. The Bible says, one more time, Staples, I'm getting ready to go. The Bible says,
yes, sir,
that a sanctified wife will sanctify a husband. And so in times when I'm in my flesh and I'm carnal and I'm worried and I'm distressed, sometimes I just need you to lay your hands on me and pray for me. And tell me, baby, it's going to be okay.
Killing me.
Baby, I got your back. I'm getting ready to go because I got another show in about 3 minutes, but help me be a better parent. Help me be better with finances, not criticize me. But as Fred said on one of the first shows we got on, his wife is an accountant, so he defers to her. So just because I don't have the ability don't downplay me and make me feel like I'm not good enough. Help me be the best version of me. And I promise you, if you help me be the best version of me, I'm gonna give you the best life I can give.
Amen. Roll that mic across the floor.
Corey, you
signing off.
You about to jump off. You got some questions that came in the queue. So Corey, you
damn sure did, Corey.
Next time, man. Next week.
I'm gonna have to answer it next time. It's 7:30. I hate being late, man. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all next time, bro.
Corey.
All right, man. Take care.
Lamar, man, did he kind of tap into that question that you posed?
Man, he hit everything on every point, and ain't nothing more I can really say concerning that. He went into the whole, and the Bible said, he went all in, man, and that's absolutely wonderful. How are you actually helping me, and how are you in a situation as far as how did I say it earlier? I'm trying to get my thoughts back at how I said it earlier. Helping yourself out of that normal, what somebody else sees that is normal to them, and is actually a dysfunction. How can you help me out of my dysfunction without killing me along the way? If you see something that is dysfunctional in me, and it's something that I've been doing for years and years and years and years and years, and yes, it is a dysfunction. However, my dysfunction is my normal thing. That's my norm. That's how I see it as a norm. But yet you see a dysfunction. How can you help correct that in me without destroying me along the process?
Yeah. Wow, that's such a fine balance.
What I want to add to that question too, Dr. Lamar, Dr. Staples, is, you're asking our lady to help us, and you have to be able to help yourself too. And how you help yourself is to be humble.
Right, of course.
Open to feedback, because yes, as men, we do have egos, but my mentor always told me that ego is like body fat. You need it, but too much will kill you.
Good.
Right? So I can have my ego, but I can't have too much ego that now I can't take feedback, especially from the main person in my life that's trying to help me, like Corey said, to become the best version of myself. So if she gives me something, I need to be open enough to receive that feedback that she's giving, because it's for my best interest.
I have one that I think is critical for the success of all of this, for us as individuals and for our relationships. I think women can really, really help us by helping themselves, by working on themselves, by staying in the Word, by having by meeting with small groups, by doing things that we often do in the church, taking that to the extreme when it comes to trying to help sort of rid yourself of your own pride, because we're asking you guys to try to figure us out the same way I think you expect us to figure you out. But we're asking you, when you assess us, before you criticize us, and as you find things that you need to prune, or you feel like you could help us prune away from us, things that you could help add to us to help make us the people that we can to meet our maximum potential. But in that process, it's very important that you understand, you open up your chest and understand your own baggage. You know, you really do have to consider the things that color the lenses of your magnifying glass as you look into our heart and to our souls. You really do have to try to do it with less than a prideful spirit. You know, you have to, I think at every term when Dr. Staples talked about how not to try to help us, we're basically asking you to make sure you're looking at us with a gentle spirit, with a generous spirit, with a thoughtful Christian spirit, with a spirit that's less than prideful, and that you're not concerned with making us into who you think we should be. That's the epitome of pride. For you to think you can mold us in what you think is right is the epitome of pride. You should try to help us be what God wants us to be, right?
That's powerful.
You got to be in the spirit, okay? You got to be in God's word, all right? You have to have a right relationship with God if you want to be the right person for us. And for men, we need to find somebody who is equally yoked with us. I mean, we don't want to make it more difficult for anybody than it needs to be. And if we have someone who's of a dissimilar spirit, they're not going to be up to trying to get us where God wants us to be. All right? We need the right helpmate.
Hey, Fred.
So, gentlemen, consider that.
Fred, I want to say I have never been a very religious person. And I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate what you guys are sharing from a position that I've never taken before. Honestly, I just want to tell you, brothers, I've never met y'all, but this is dope as hell to me, because I talk how I talk, and I'm listening to y'all. I'm like, damn, this is great. I just want to tell y'all that. But I also want to say something about pride. I believe that pride is overcompensation for insecurity. You only wear a lot of makeup because you don't feel good about how beautiful your skin is.
Wow.
You feel me? So pride is overcompensation for insecurity. And I believe that this young lady, someone said on here, they put it to Corey. Gabrielle asked about, how do you fall in love with the best self compared to the potential? I believe everybody got potential. I got potential to act a fool. I got potential to be great. Potential, everybody got potential. I think the thing that we have a problem with is communicating about the actions.
Yeah, Eric. So she said the question, man, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I want us all to park here for a second before we close out for the night.
Yes, sir.
Gabrielle asked a great question. She says, how can we help her distinguish, help those who are listening distinguish how to help him be his best self, as opposed to falling for just his potential, right? And so I think there's a dichotomy there. I think the dichotomy is there is another level to being better, and there's a compensatory or a reward for being okay with being where I'm at. Like I'm comfortable just being here. And I think, Gabrielle, if I could just kind of touch on your question, I'm gonna let the other brothers do the same thing. I think one of the ways you can do that, and every woman who's listening, one of the ways you can help a man see his best version of himself and not settle for his potential is to remind him that there is more in him. Like that he has more. It's not a one-time conversation. It's not something that should come at his birthday and at Christmas. But this is a routine, not a nagging, but a routine conversation that there is more in you than what you're doing. Like I see more. Whether you decide to tap into more or not, I see more. And let me let you know an insight on this. Men, because we're competitive, you keep reminding us on a daily basis or routine basis that you see more. After a while, our competitive spirit is going to be like, Jason, what the hell is wrong with you? She keeps telling you that there's more. And why haven't you tapped into your more yet? What the hell is wrong with you, right? And so it becomes a conversation between self that we have, but it's a constant reminder from you that reminds us that there's more.
Yes.
If I can jump in on that right quick, and I ain't gonna say nothing else for the rest of the night. Often the potential that a lot of women see inside of a man is not the potential that the man actually wants to have for his own life. Often it is just the potential that they want for him to have, not it's what they see in themselves and what they see and what they want in their own relationship is not what he actually wants and desire for himself. He may be great. He may be an awesome. He may be absolutely wonderful and have all this great potential on the inside. But make sure it's his potential and where you want him to go, not versus where you want him to go. Because if it's something where you want him to go, he'll rather sit downstairs and tune you out while you're telling him he's great and continue playing PlayStation versus, if it's something that he really desires inside of his heart and there's something that's really in him to do. Because oftentimes our expectation, oh, this is going to be crazy. Our levels of expectation are extremely too high for the person that we're dating. So we done set this level of expectation thinking that they're going to match up to this particular level. However, we never took into consideration that they were never even built for that level that you're trying to push them on.
They wasn't built for it. They wasn't built.
Now you're putting all this weight and you putting this stress and you putting this, you putting this mantle, biblical terminology. Now you're putting this mantle, this anointing that's on him that was never required for him to carry. So now he is now being destroyed by what you put on his shoulders.
The mantle.
Listen, that's
because it's too heavy for him to carry. He can't carry what you want.
He said the mantle. God.
That's our call for tonight, y'all. It's been awesome.
Right.
That's it.
He said mantle. Damn.
That's it.
I mean, this thing. Okay, all right. I'm gonna talk to Eric just for a second. See, I threw the mantle out because I've been doing this crazy study on Elijah and Elisha, right? And I love the whole piece of it. Elisha asked for what he wanted. Right? Elisha asked for what he wanted. Elijah said, you know what? You can have what you want as long as you see me. But there comes a point when they crossed over the Jordan, when they stood right there, right before he received what he asked for. Most men don't ever ask, or most men don't ever look at asking God for what they really want. But he was bold enough, because you got to be bold enough to ask for it. So he saw something that he could actually have. But there come a point where there's a moment of separation. We always talk about the moment of separation was when he was coming across the Jordan, leaving those other folk behind. No, the moment of separation came when the wall of fire, as the Bible says, the wall of fire came down in between him and the one that he was serving, the one who he asked for the double portion, the one who he asked for the double anointing. There comes a moment in life where there have to be a place of separation. The double don't come until a moment of separation happens.
I understand that.
So in a relationship moment, you can push him, but so far. But there will come a time and there will come a point where he needs to get out there on his own and get it.
There it is. I know you're going to drop that hammer, Lamar.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You got to go get it. As much as you love him, as much as you want to support him, one of the best ways that you can really help him, push him into that right direction.
He got to
let him go.
You let him go.
He got to make a choice.
Yeah.
He got to make that choice.
Well, she was asking for help. That's very true. He was asking for help making her choice. How do you reconcile the two? Potential versus, what you think you should do to help him reach the epitome of who he can be. I think the two exist. I mean, the potential actually absolutely exists. I married my wife for her potential. The question is, potential what? Number one, you have to decide. What is the potential? What is it to make a lot of money, to be a great husband and father, to be a great provider, to be a stalwart in the church, to be a community leader, to be a what? And how
he has to know who he is.
What is your
you don't know who he is?
Right. What you see as potential versus what his ambition is, and versus what his tools and goals are entirely different things. So all of those things exist when you find somebody. So you can see massive amounts of potential, but very poor, a poor seller in the way of ambition and goals, and tools to accomplish any of that potential, which makes the actual very, less likely.
Hey Fred, I like what Ashley just said, because she's referencing something that Dr. Staples said, and what you're talking about. You got to be mindful of who you choose, because as Ashley put, his knees will buckle
under the mantle.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and that's heavy, actually, because the pressure you're putting on him to be something that he, one, doesn't know that he can be,
right.
And two, because he has normalized, Pastor Staples, you said this earlier, he's normalized his dysfunction. And because he's normalized his dysfunction, he can never see his true potential.
Right.
Listen, though, I don't even think it has to be as deep as dysfunction. That's deep. That's heavy.
But I'm a Reggie, there's got to be red flags,
This is what I would say. When I think of the picture, this is what came to mind. Potential versus like on purpose, let's say. Potential, I picture a man sitting in a chair, because everybody has potential. The man with purpose is running down the road. He's in motion. He's in action. There's a difference. You're sitting in a chair, or you're running down a road. So yes, he has the potential to be great. Like Brother Fred said, his wife had potential, but I guarantee you, she was already in action with some things as well. It's not like he just saw her sitting on the sideline. Oh yeah, I can see her doing some things down in the future. I'm pretty sure in that present moment, she was up to some things.
Equally
potential for also greater things. So yeah, if he has the potential to be a great, businessman, speaker, whatever it is, but if he's not, reading, if he's not in school, if he's not out there marketing his business, if he's not out there learning more information,
if he's just smoking weed and playing computer games,
now,
I don't care how smart he is,
You see the signs. Come on now.
Yeah, there's got to be red flags. You have to have something to work with.
But that's a classical conditioning, though, right?
A lot of times, too, we'll ask questions that we know the answers to.
Yes, bro, and we already knew. We knew that this person played a mean game of Madden. We knew that.
Yeah,
we knew this. But I think to just take it back to how we. I mean, I'm just gonna say this because I know Jay. I know you got to get off here. But just thinking about how my woman could support me, I think it all comes back to. I think, brothers, Dr. Staples, you killed me tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things is a willingness to be vulnerable, to even be able to communicate about this journey, about understanding about my pride has gotten away before, and I knew it was because I was insecure, and being able to take that down and just be like, you know what, I want us to be financially stable, and I don't know how to do that really, but I know that I got the backbone to push it that direction. Can you help us do that?
That's right.
And being able to just be vulnerable with it, like, I know I'm not good with that stuff. Can you help me? Don't throw it in my face and treat me crazy.
She's got to lay the foundation. She's got to lay the foundation of that whole trust component that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Respect and trust, so you feel secure enough.
Yeah.
With an insecurity, you can be confident that you'll be lifted up rather than torn down. That's the last thing.
But Fred, if we didn't even start it off on that, and that starts off, like you said, trust. But trust starts out with vulnerability from the very beginning. I have found that being a larger man, like one of the things that is kind of cool for me is to be vulnerable. Because but here's the other part about it. My vulnerability comes from the fact that I think I can fold you up. You know what I'm saying? So the other part to it is I'm thinking I need to have a partner who is willing to be vulnerable with me too. So I can say, I'm gonna put it out there. And if they respond in a way that I knew that I was hoping they will respond, then I have chosen well. The trust starts, like you said this earlier, I think, Fred, the trust starts with me. I got to be able to say, when you do that stuff right there, that's some bullshit. I don't like that. And I love you. And for them to be able to go, I hear you, baby. And I go, damn, she got me. She got me. I know I could do better. Because I'm watching my woman be equally yoked, as Dr. Staples said. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate this, man. This is making me like I want to go kiss my wife.
You should. You should. Hey,
Jay.
All kinds of tape
I'm gonna let Lamar close in a second, and then Fred, I want you to kind of share a couple of tidbits after Lamar closes. But let me just say that next week, those who are listening, those who will replay this a couple of times, because I'm gonna replay it a couple of times. Y'all said some heavy stuff tonight that I need to go back and listen to. But next week, when we get back on here, part 4, it's a lot of what we talked about tonight, but did not use the word. Next week is How to Love a Man series, part 4. Forgive him. I think there is a lot of lack of forgiveness that takes place in our relationships, which blocks your inability to truly love. You say you love your man, but you don't want to forgive him. Sweetheart, that ain't love then. That ain't love. It's impossible to be in love with somebody and not forgive them. Now, I didn't say that you wouldn't forget. I didn't say that there won't be consequences for the actions that may have taken place, but it is impossible to love without forgiveness. So next week, we're going to dive into that whole piece on forgive him. Dr. Staples, take us out. Fred, go ahead and drop after Dr.
Wrestling practice.
Jason,
Man, you just messed. You made something all just stirred all up in my spirit just now. That right there just hit that just hit home. It's gonna be good. But I think one of the things that I ain't gonna say one of the things is been the whole lot that's been shared tonight, and everybody's perspective has been absolutely great. Like we was talking earlier, Fred and Jason both were talking about respect and trust and being able to communicate. Before you can help him do anything, you have to have that line of respect. So you have to be able to talk to one another. Can he trust where you're pushing him to? Can he respect you, and can you respect him in the choices that he make and the decisions that he make? And can you still support him in those areas that he may just be wrong in? Communication is huge. Jay said something right in the beginning of the show. And it stuck hold to me. Why am I fighting at work? Why am I fighting out here in this community? Being an African American, being a black man, Fred said something about this as well. I have to fight every time I walk out of the door. Why am I fighting just to get some help when I come home? Is my home a sanctuary? Ladies, if you're listening, you're married, you're dating, you're anything. I mean, any involved in any type of relationship at all. Is your home a safe haven for him?
That's right.
To where he could come and, as Eric said, and be vulnerable without having to have that wall up.
Yes, bro.
Without having to have that wall, because if he got to come in the house and still have that wall up and not being able to be vulnerable, you'll never be able to find a place. Now Corey back, Lord have mercy. You'll never be able to find a place where you can't find that place where you can actually help him effectively, because he's not open enough for you, because he still has that wall up, because when he comes into the house, it's not a safe place, it's a war zone. It's a war zone. I'm gonna leave that right there. Corey didn't drop back in, and he knows where the fire. Corey, Jason started a fire tonight. He said next week, forgive him.
What?
Exactly. That's what me and Eric was grinning the whole time, like,
oh boy.
He gonna throw that out to forgive him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hey man,
now, and I'll say this: you can forgive him, yes, and offer him the same grace that you received, because oftentimes people will not give you the same grace that they require. They require a certain level of grace, but then won't give a certain level of grace. I'm sorry, Jason, I'm having a moment right now, but won't give that same level of grace that they actually ask God. God, give me grace. I need grace. I need mercy. But yet at the end of the day, they won't give you that same grace in return when you make a mistake and you do something wrong. But say the moment you do something wrong, you can't continually doing the same thing wrong.
Stop.
Hey man.
And then expect somebody to forgive you for your habitual sins or for your habitual whatever.
The buck stops here.
Hey, let me ask you a question, because I don't know, Staples, because I don't read the Bible. But is unforgiveness a sin?
Well, yeah.
Hey, Corey, before you jumped on,
you gonna do that tonight, Corey? We're gonna do that.
It was impossible, Corey. It was impossible for a woman to say to a man, "I love you," but failed to forgive him. That don't go in the same sentence. That don't go in the same sentence. When he laid on the cross, I'm not as astute as Corey and Lamar is when it comes to the Holy Writ. But when he laid on the cross, man, I remember there was something he said when he said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't even know what they do." Right? In that moment when he said that, he didn't say that he no longer loved them. Right. What he said was, "Forgive them, because they don't even know what they're doing." and somebody said that love covers a multitude of sins. I don't know who said that.
I believe this. I can love you, but that don't mean I got to be with you.
Oh, it's true.
Next week it's gonna
okay. All right. How about this? You ready, Corey? Here it is. He died, rose again, loved us, showed him himself before he took off. But he did get out of here. I love you. I'm gonna show you the way, but I'm gone. I'm gonna leave a representative. Peace out. I got to go back to where I came from.
Hey man, you better. Hey man, listen. Okay. Why did I even come back? I don't even know why I came back on this show.
We got a point. You counterpoint.
Next week gonna be beautiful.
Next week gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be absolutely insane.
I'm just saying, Corey. We just having fun, Corey. That's all.
First of all, listen, guys. I'm trying to get married. Listen, so y'all, I'm trying to get married. Okay.
On the 12th. On the
12th. All right. So just I don't want her to think I'm crazy because she be watching these shows. So
does she know you at all?
I'm gonna go weather the snow with the dog.
Uh-oh.
that was it.
It's been really bad out.
What happened?
It's snowing crazy here, and
the dog is outside.
I got 2 basset hounds, bro, and they're the little short, fat ones with the long ears. I'm giving grace right now.
Hey, so look, let's close out.
Our show got our own special effects.
Lord have mercy.
Fred, we already did benediction, and Corey came back to another benediction. Go ahead and share in 5 minutes, because I know some of us got other calls. Real quick though, Fred, share what you shared with me earlier, man, about our community, about COVID-19, and about taking care of our immune system. Really quick.
As quick as I can. I was speaking with Dr. Otley earlier about the importance of vitamin D as a supplement in our diets, especially among Black people. Some years ago, I had the pleasure of pledging with a young man, Dr. Leslie Ray Matthews. He started researching vitamin D over 15 years ago, and 15 years ago convinced me to start taking it as a supplement along with my wife, and convinced my extended family as well to take it. Now the scientific community, most of you may have heard from the scientific community, including Dr. Fauci, about the importance of vitamin D and its role in bolstering our immune response, and as it reflects on COVID-19, this pandemic that we're all suffering through. It has shown that vitamin D, supplementation with vitamin D, tends to decrease the chances of acquiring the virus, and also limit the cascade of immune responses that lead to more critical hospital stays and death. So I would like to encourage my brothers here on the show and all of the viewers who watch us to have your vitamin D levels checked, first of all. And secondly, I almost guarantee you that they will be low unless you're already supplementing with vitamin D. Almost worldwide, vitamin D levels on the planet are lower than they need to be. The only place where they're found to be in a normal acceptable range typically is around the equator. And that's because they're getting sunlight at a more direct angle, and they're getting it more often. So even working outdoors at the obtuse angle that people on this part of the planet, this hemisphere, get sunshine is not enough for you to produce enough vitamin D. And the sunshine that your body produces it it is known to help in the absorption of calcium. And that's why people always thought vitamin D just helped us have strong bones and prevented us from getting rickets and bow legs and that type of thing. But my friend found in his research that vitamin D behaves more like a hormone, which also it was evidence that vitamin D was found in almost vitamin D receptors. That is, vitamin D receptors are found in practically every body system and in every organ. So it's not just that vitamin D was a vitamin per se and involved in the catalytic the absorption of calcium, making strong bones, which it does, but it's also vital to your kidney function, your liver function. It's been shown that people have less incidences of certain types of cancer as a result of having higher vitamin D levels. Traumatic brain injuries go down. My friend, Dr. Matthews, is a retired head of trauma surgery and critical care at Emory Hospital in Atlanta. So he's also been in contact with the FDA, the CDC, the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, several professional football teams, basketball teams, and hockey teams, and that type of thing. The evidence of his research was so compelling that the FDA actually is now requiring more vitamin D be put in whole milk. So if you need any convincing, I hope that helps convince you about the importance of vitamin D in your diet. So I encourage everyone and implore you all, especially people of color who have the protection of melanin, which also blocks some of the sun's rays and makes it more difficult for us to synthesize vitamin D. I encourage you all to please share with your friends this information. I take a cocktail of vitamin D, 5,000 international units a day. I take vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams, that is, a day, and 50 milligrams of zinc. I'm a frontline healthcare worker and am exposed to COVID-19 on occasion, and I think it's important that I keep my immune system strong. My wife, unfortunately, did contract COVID-19, and as a result, I personally believe of taking vitamin D supplements for the past 15 years. She was symptomatic, or at least I would say feeling the effects of COVID for 2 days, count them, 2 days. She had a low-grade fever and was, I think, a little bit sore and was lethargic and sleepy for 2 days. The next 13 days of her quarantine, she was just bored as hell. I only pray that everybody could have as uneventful course of, that disease. And I'm so grateful to God for blessing us with such an uncomplicated and such a short illness. And I also thank him for introducing me to Dr. Matthews all those years ago online, pledging Alpha at Ole Miss. That brother is righteous. You can check him out, Dr. L. Ray Matthews, on Facebook if you want to check out some of his research and the articles that reference his research on vitamin D. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, Fred, I appreciate that, man. It's important to build our immune system, man. And thank you for sharing that story about your wife, man, that she had the virus, man, on just 2 days, and then she killed it, crushed it.
I'll say real quick, to add on to that, not needs to say, when I came home every day to my wife, as she had contracted the virus, whatever her incubation period was, I was still supplementing. I came home, I kissed her goodbye every morning when I went to work, and I kissed her hello every evening when I got in. Slept with her every night. I remember the night before she was diagnosed, I snuggled up to her in the bed. She felt warm. The next day she woke up and said she felt warm, took her temperature. She was hot. We went and got tested. She was positive. I never caught it. Never caught it. And I attribute that to God's grace and period. And then meeting this young man, this brother, and being down with vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C. Every day I was side by side with her in bed. Yes, sir.
Hey, so I just want to make sure I heard everything you said properly. In order to live a healthy life, kick COVID, ladies need a large dosage of D.
Wow, goodbye. Peace out. I holler at y'all.
But I heard.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Tell me,
I can't
Eric,
do it.
ain't that what you heard,
Man,
Eric?
I call you. I'm gonna call you, man.
Eric, that's what I heard. I
can't do this no more.
Say is If you want to stay alive,
5,000 IU. I said 5,000 IU of D.
oh, I would okay. Well, I thought. I'm sorry. I thought this was your version of help me.
Oh. You know what? I did want to talk about that. I
can't. It's too much.
No, it's important. You know it, Cookie Monster. I ain't forgot.
Hey, Cookie. No. We know you know Cookie.
Bye. Peace out. I see.
Hey, we out, man. Man. Thank you for sharing, Corey. The humor was needed at the end. I do appreciate that too. Next week, everybody who's still listening, tune in. We're talking about Forgive Him. This is a 4-part series on how to love a man. And next week, Forgive Him. So, ladies, if you got questions about areas and levels of forgiveness, bring them to us. We're going to try to tackle as many questions as possible. But I do know all of us have got some things we probably do want to share when it comes to levels and areas of forgiveness. Tune in next week, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Forgive him. And can you forgive her too?
Yeah, that's true.
Get that D up in you.
Hey, make sure you got plenty.
5,000 IU.
You need 5,000 units of D in you.
Yo, wow, man.
Yeah, JD's your friends. I don't know.
See y'all next week.